Well, if there wasn't enough chaos to go around right now, we've got some chaos coming out of China in the form of some company called DeepSeek dot or underscore AI. And DeepSeek seems to have gotten a hold of 40 or 50,000 Nvidia computers, chips, if you will. They say they got them illegally into China. That's a lot of chips to get illegally into China. These things weigh like a lot. I forget now. Is it 90 pounds a piece or 900 pounds a piece? Anyway, they're big. It's got to be 90 pounds a piece. Anyway, this is like multiple containers full of these things. So how did they sneak them in? And then they turn around and they've been able to create a large language model that seems to be on the equivalent, not necessarily of the most advanced AI coming out of ChatGPT or out of some of the other players right now, but is maybe one step behind, and it is open source and very inexpensive or free to download. Anyway, that's all I know about it because this is not my area of expertise. That's all I'm going to be able to say about it. What I can tell you is that the last time I checked is that Nvidia is down about 5% and Tesla is down about 2.5% in the after hours. The NASDAQ is down about 90. We'll check all those in a few minutes, but yeah, it's impacting the tech world across the board because, you know, somehow China got this stuff and somehow China has this ability now and they put it out for virtually free. Now, let's keep in mind that a whole bunch of people have been saying that the basic LLMs are going to become a commodity and not going to be worth very much, and where the value is going to be in the agents and in the way that these are applied. But in any case, it's having an impact, and I think it's part of the reason Tesla's down. Now, it could be down for other reasons as well. As I've mentioned before, I thought we would have some drip, drip, drip into the earnings, and that part of that would be in the macro. If the macro went down, Tesla will follow that. So I'm not at all surprised that we're now sitting at around 295 last time I checked. All right, we've got, but we have good news on the other hand. Here is this reporting. If this is all true, I'm just blown away. This is from Luca Grecoita. Luca Grecoita. Anyway, he's been quite active lately. Maybe he's been around for a while, but I've only been noticing him relatively recently. And he's been reporting on the sales of the new Model Y in China and the Juniper, and he's got it down as 50,000 the first day. That's what we've heard before. 70,000 the first 5 days. I had heard 100,000 the first 10 days, and now he's reporting $130,000 units as of today, are 16 days from the launch. When you consider that last year they sold 480,000 total threes and, oh, I'm sorry, 480,000 Model Ys in China last year total for the whole year, and they've got 130 orders right now. That's pretty crazy. The goal for China, they say, is to increase from 480 to 520. That would be absolutely news to me. I don't have any goal information out of China, so that's interesting. There's 40,000, I suppose, of the increase that Elon's expecting. Anyway, what impact will that have between now and Wednesday? We'll see, but right now, all of the impact, I think, is about the macro and about this news from the world of AI. Okay, what will move the stock this Wednesday? So no matter what happens between now and Wednesday, we got to go through earnings. We've got to go through the earnings call. And yes, of course, a beat on the margins, a beat on the overall, the general margins, of course, a beat on the earnings per share, all those things. And who knows, we might get a triple beat. Some people are saying we'll get a triple beat. And if we do get a triple beat, that would be very, very useful and likely could impact the stock. But I think it has way more to do with what happens after that information hits, and has way more to do with what Elon has to say and the answers that he gives in the afternoon. So here we go. Here are 14 things that I think would move the stock the next day. Number one, a cheerful Elon Musk, positive, excited. And I think he will be. I think that'll really help. And so that's number one. Number two, any believable news about FSD being unsupervised, or any kind of update on the test cars are the number of miles that Teslas are now driving between critical interventions when on FSD. Any improvement that they give us out of their data rather than out of some of the other data that we're getting from third parties. Not to discount that, I think it's important, but if Tesla gives their data, that would be way more important, and sometimes they have. Number 4, any updates on the regulatory process at either the UN, the EU, the US, or California? Now, we heard the other day that California will have their final regulations out. I think they said April. The UN has been promising earlier than that. The EU, maybe, maybe not. They've had earlier said that they would have them in the first quarter, but now with the recent things, we're not as clear. Anyway, number 5, obviously, if we can get those regulations, some clarity on the regulations, that would move the stock. Number 5, any indication that the IRA credits will remain in place for all of 2024, that would be huge. I've said that I believe that's what's going to happen, but I do believe that they will be gone in 2024. Now, there's other IRA regulations having to do with the batteries and the battery packs. I'm talking right now about the 7500, which should impact the consumer side. But in terms of profitability, obviously, the battery packs are massively important. But I have a feeling those will stay, even if modified. Number 6, and it would be nice if we heard something on that, but I don't think it'll move the stock. Number 6, a restatement of the 20 to 30% increase in vehicle sales in 2025 would be positive. Even more positive would be that he increases that number. Certainly, it would be a bad thing if it decreases. Then we might also be looking for any information on the likely ramp of the semi-truck, because to the extent that semi-trucks actually get a serious ramp by the end of the year, if we had some kind of a goal that he had set and what he thinks he's going to ship by the end of the year, that could add significantly to the profitability in 2025. Number 7, any announcement about increases over the 80 increases of 80 beyond the 80 gigawatts that's promised out of the 2 megapack factories that we have now. Maybe a new factory, an expansion of one of the existing factories, or a confirmation that the existing factories can do 100 gigawatts or more, which was hinted at before. Not going to move the stock a lot, but it would be a real positive. Number 8, confirmation or more information about the Model Q, about the timing of that product still being in the first half would be good enough to at least keep the stock even, but a little more color could potentially cause it to jump up. Now, we just went over those order numbers from China, which may or may not be actual. They're not from Tesla, for instance. But maybe Elon would give us some information on Wednesday from all 3 of the, or 4 of the factories, or just overall. So far, we've had this many orders. That would be lovely. Number 10, any kind of positive statement on Cybertruck. Something about the sales, something about the shipment, something about expectations of the ramp in 2025. Possibly a promotion or promotions, or is there anything like that planned? Also, profitability of the Cybertrucks, that was mentioned once before. We'd also, maybe there'd be some kind of color on the waiting list. Is the waiting list now down to 1 million, or is it down to 500,000? Anyway, I don't think they'll give that, but it would be nice. 11, any positive or any detailed look of the battery strategy, in particular the 4680s, but just in general. We've got that CATL line that we bought. Is that up and running? What are we expecting from Panasonic and their new factory? Have they started delivering? Love to get an overall, like a 5-minute presentation on batteries. Number 12, a statement. Meaning Elon Musk, I am not buying TikTok. That'd be lovely. That'd be helpful. Number 13, any notice regarding the licensing of FSD, preferably an actual deal, an announcement. That'd be an appropriate time to give that announcement, or close to a deal. We are now talking to 5 companies, and we think we'll have a deal in the next 30 days. Yes, anything like that would obviously be a big help. Number 14, and finally, maybe a production start date estimate on the Cybercab, because we're hearing a lot of different date times now. Could they be starting, let's say, in September or October? Give a date like that. That'd be great. All right, now, let's spend a minute talking about the impact of Trump's recent political approaches in Europe. Okay, first of all, did I say Trump's recent? I meant Elon's recent political, what he's doing over in Germany, what he's been doing in England. So here's how I feel about it. Number one, never bet against Elon. He might not get his way in Germany, but if he does, he will not only potentially start a change revolution in all of Europe, but he could easily come out with more folks liking Tesla, as I predict that it's going to happen here in the US in 2025 because of his involvement with Trump and the MAGA and the Republicans. I think it's going to help. So, people that just talk about the losses on the left, but they don't talk about the gains on the right. Okay, now listen, last night, if you missed it, and it turns out that more people than I thought had watched Robert Scoble last night. So if you watched this morning show, set aside my concerns there. In his reporting last night, he showed that Waymo is charging more than Uber for a ride. They're charging more, like a lot more, like sometimes double. And he's been talking to people on this for weeks, and he says this is normal because it's a better experience than having to get into the cab with some driver that might talk you to death or have bad breath, or I've seen religious information being passed out. Anyway, so Tesla, this changes everything. This changes everything with regard to the expectations that we have for 2026 in 2025 and 26 in terms of profitability. If Tesla can actually charge more, if individuals who put their car out to the field to make money can actually charge more than $2 or more than $2.50, maybe $3 or who knows how much, this could be a very big deal for everybody. So that's something to think about. Moreover, it also speaks to adoption by consumers. Scoble has talked about the way better experience in the Waymos than people are getting in a regular, Uber, Lyft, or cab, and that experience is going to be the key. That's going to be what gets people to make the decision. Well, if people are having good experiences in the Waymo, that sets up Tesla for people to be anxious and interested in trying the Tesla. And of course, they're going to have a way better experience in a Model 3, a Model Y, a Model S, a Model X, or a Cybertruck than they're going to have in that stupid Waymo. And besides, they'll look better getting there. And so I think this is huge. So if you haven't seen that video, you can certainly, I'll put it up later. I'll put it up at the end. All right. So this comes from, it says, thank you, Justin. It's Justin Lamb. This is from AJ. He says, I have no interest in becoming a guru. I just share what I see in the data and what I learned in 30 years investing in stocks and closely covering Tesla for almost 15 years now. He says, I'm taking the long term in the following. Number one, key lesson. Never write Tesla off, even if the situation looks bad. Tesla has enormous surprise potential. Even if you think you know everything, covered every aspect, and thought about every detail, Elon still managed to pull a rabbit out of the hat. Key lesson number two, Tesla is a highly volatile stock. Be prepared for massive swings, both up and down. Unlikely this is ever going to change. Key lesson number three, the company performs better than what most people realize. In other words, for example, when most people see a margin decrease, they assume the business is doing worse, when in fact, if you understand the whole of the market, the business outperformed competition, strengthened its competitive position in relative terms, and that latter becomes more than absolute over the long run. By the way, I keep looking out my eye here because the television is playing the football game, which I'm now missing, but oh well, I'm doing it for you. This is Randy Kirk. That's who's missing the football game for you. Like, subscribe, notify, regular programming tomorrow. Tonight I should have something on at 7:45, but I'm not sure I will. We'll see what happens after the game. Maybe, maybe not. If it is, you'll be notified if you push notify. Normal stuff tomorrow. Look, although Larry Goldberg may or may not be on tomorrow night at around 5 o'clock, I may have to juggle that a little bit, but he'll be on one day next, or a couple of days next week. Okay. Also Patreon, I did have 4 more Cybertrucks get purchased today. So thank you very much for that. But Patreon, I do need to have some more folks signing up on Patreon. All right, here's what's coming next week in terms of the reporting. Number one, on Monday, we have new home sales coming out on Monday. Based on what we've been seeing everywhere else, people are guessing new home sales, which is in December, are going to be up over last month. Now, November's not a great month for home sales, new home sales either, but December's usually pathetic for new home sales. So they're thinking you go from 664 on an annualized basis to 671. On Tuesday, we have durable goods orders. This is the one I'm always looking for. They are expecting an increase from a negative 1.1% last month. In other words, from October to November, it went down. They're expecting that the November to December actually increased 0.7%. Then they have durable goods minus transportation and no guess on that. Then we have, and that's, yeah, okay. So then we have Case-Shiller Home Price Index, went up 4.2% last month. They have no guess on that one, although based on what I'm seeing in other places and reported the other day, it might be up. It might be, we'll see what happens there. Consumer confidence number comes out. And what I'm going to be mostly interested here is that they're predicting it's going to be improving after consumer sentiment last week went down. And you know my feelings on that. I feel like the University of Michigan is twisting the stuff, man. They're making, surveys. It's easy. It's easy to change the results of survey by how you ask the question, just by your temperament, just by the way you actually ask the question. It can be something that the University of Michigan's not doing on purpose, but there's students who might be leftist or, unhappy about Trump, maybe asking the questions in ways that causes people to be negative. But what we've seen is a difference, a splitting apart of the consumer confidence index and the consumer sentiment index, which is unusual. You'd think they'd be going together. Then we have the trade balance on Wednesday morning, along with advanced retail inventories and wholesale inventories. You know that none of these three bother me very much, but we'll report on them. Then we have, of course, this is Wednesday when everything happens. The Fed chair has his rate decision. Do they drop by 25? Do they not? And what does the chairman say in the meeting in the afternoon, which I think will be, well, let's put it this way. If they drop at 0.25, the market will go crazy. If they hold even, which is what's expected, the market will be, not that interested. If they have a hawkish sentiment in the afternoon, that would, of course, hurt the market. If they have a dovish sentiment in the afternoon, you get it, but that's going to be very important. I think the afternoon might end up being more important than the morning. Of course, Tesla has their earnings on that day, but I'm going to go through the earnings calls here in just a second. Thursday, we get the GDP number. So they are expecting that to be at 2.5, which will be down from last quarter 3.1. This is the first estimate of the first quarter GDP. And the initial jobless claims come in that day. They're thinking it'll be about the same, 225. We have pending home sales for December. And last month it was up 2.2. They're thinking it'll be up another 1%. So everything seems to be extremely positive about the housing market right now. Friday, of course, we have PCE. So that gives you the income. We get the spending. We get employment cost index, personal income, year over year, core, all that stuff on Friday. And then the Chicago Business Barometer also comes out. And last month, let me see the PCE. Let me see what they're thinking here. They've given us all kinds of estimates here. So let's go through them. The employment cost index going up from 0.8 to 0.9. That would not be good. The personal income going up from 0.3 to 0.4. That would be good. That's fine. Personal spending. I'm sorry. Okay. Personal spending going up from 0.4 to 0.5. Still spending more than we're earning. The PCE index, the headline, up from 0.1 to 0.3. That would not be good. The year over year from 2.4 to 2.6, not good. Core PCE up from 0.1 to 0.2. Sheesh. This will kill the market. Maybe these estimates is what causing the market to go down right now. Core year over year staying the same at 2.8, and the Chicago Business Barometer going up from 3.6 to 4, from 36.9 to 40.0. That would be good news about the economy. All right, what do we got here in terms of earnings? Well, man, it's a huge stacked week. On Monday, you've got SoFi. On Tuesday, you got Boeing, GM. On Wednesday, you've got Meta. And on Thursday, Microsoft, Tesla, And wait a minute, on Wednesday, it's Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla. Thursday, Apple. Other than that, what could go wrong this week? So it's going to be a wild and crazy week. Oh, I missed that one. MasterCard. All right. I need to get back to the game. I'm going to just put that card up here for the Robert Scoble interview from last night. And maybe I'll see you once more tonight. Otherwise, see you tomorrow all day long. It's been great talking to you.